I am a 28-year-old man and have been with my girlfriend, a 30-year-old woman, for almost 8 months now. Things have been perfect between us. Our connection is strong, we communicate well, we enjoy all the same things, our chemistry is amazing, and all the boxes between her and me are checked. However, I'm having a really hard time with her 9-year-old son. When she and I first started dating, she told me that her son is really difficult. And boy, was she right. I don't think I have ever in my life met someone so disrespectful, mean, and ill-mannered. Anytime my girlfriend walks into his room, you immediately hear, "What do you want?" He talks back with a snarky attitude about everything. Any question that you ask him gets a quick no, even if his real answer is yes. Asking him to put his shoes on because we need to go somewhere, he yells that he can't do it because he doesn't know where his shoes are. They are by the door, as always. Then my girlfriend goes and grabs his socks and shoes and puts them in front of him and reminds him kindly that we need to leave and we're waiting on him. His response is, "Why are you so mean?" My girlfriend can be having a conversation with someone and he'll continuously try to interrupt. And when she says, "Remember, you need to wait your turn," he comes back with, "I said stop talking." And while my girlfriend continues the conversation, he's in the background just making obnoxious, loud noises. When he asks for something he can't have, he becomes very argumentative. For example, he asks on a weekday if he can have a sleepover with his cousin. My girlfriend responds with, "Honey, it's a weekday, I'm sorry, but no." And his response is, "Why?" Then my girlfriend tries to respond but can't get 2 words in before being interrupted with why? Then she'll try to respond again only to get interrupted with why. Again, this goes on for a minute, then he'll scream, "Ugh! You're the worst mom. I wish I wasn't your son." He's an iPad kid, and when his time is almost up for the day, she'll walk into his room to give him a heads up that he has about 10 minutes left. Then usually 20 minutes later, she goes in to tell him it's time to get off. This causes a full-blown meltdown. He screams that it wasn't 10 minutes, yells at her that she's the worst mom, says he's not done yet, and demands it back, and starts getting physical, etc. While out at an outdoor mall, he asks if we can go to the Lego store to look around. We go there, and he grabs something and gives it to his mom and orders, "Buy me this," to which she responds, "No, honey, we're not buying anything. Maybe for your birthday or ask Santa." Then he shouts, "You said I could have something. You're such a liar," in the middle of the store. She pulls him out of the store to talk to him, and he just stops and full-on screams at the top of his lungs and then crouches on the ground. You can't ask this kid to do anything without a fight, and you can't interact with him without him having an attitude and yelling. He won't eat most of the time unless it's chicken nuggets or a hot dog. He won't follow any rules, and he is like this with everyone, friends, cousins, grandparents, aunts, uncles, etc. He doesn't have any friends because kids don't like being around him. I've seen my girlfriend snap at him, spank him, take things away, wait for him to calm down, and then explain things to him, and nothing works. He continues the same behavior every day. My girlfriend shares 50-50 custody with the father. She says that how her son acts is a spitting image of his dad, aggressive, argumentative, mean, unreasonable, and that worries her. Now, I don't just sit by when the outbursts and talking back happen. I back up and support my girlfriend, and I call the kid out when he's acting out, even though that does nothing. But I don't feel it's my job to discipline. Plus, the kid is already 9 and has been parented a certain way, and I'm an outsider stepping in. He already has 2 parents. After doing some research on my own, I'm pretty confident that he has undiagnosed attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and possibly is on the autism spectrum as well. My girlfriend asked me early on in the relationship if her son would cause an issue with me wanting to eventually get a place together. I told her no, thinking that he just needed a good role model and to see how I treat his mom. Flash forward to now, I've come to realize that being those things isn't enough. How he behaves is learned behavior, partnered with a lack of discipline, and what we believe to be mental disorders. My girlfriend and I have been talking about getting a place together when our lease is up this year. After everything with her son, I don't think I can. I had a talk with my girlfriend and told her that I am uncomfortable getting a place together, yet because of her son's behavior. I need my home to be a place of peace and rest, and I don't have either of those on the days she has him. I worry that it'll bring out a side of me neither of them deserves. I don't want to build resentment or change the way I act because I'm uncomfortable around her son's behavior. I told her that I need him to get diagnosed and treated, and I needed to see improvement in his behavior before I'm willing to take that next step with her. While she understands where I'm coming from, she is upset and feels like I don't love her as much as she thought. I've expressed that it has nothing to do with how much I love her. It's not her. She and I are perfect, but I don't like her son's behavior. And I can't just look at her when pursuing a life together. I have to look at her son as well. And as of right now, I don't like him, and it wouldn't be good for him to have a man living with him who didn't like him. Love isn't enough to make a lifelong relationship work. Now I'm worried. What if it doesn't get better? Am I just wasting her time and mine? She can only do so much for him being in 50-50 custody and the father not being on the same page with parenting. What if a year from now, there's still no improvement? At that point, we would just need to end things. I worry that things won't get better because her son's dad doesn't see much of a problem because he's the same way. I don't want to drag this on and have this all hurt even worse a year from now if we do need to part ways. My question is, am I a jerk for letting a kid decide on the fate of my relationship with a woman I deeply love? Am I doing the right thing? Should I just move in anyway because I love her even though I know I won't be happy in the home? Should I just end things now? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Are you ready for this child to become a permanent part of your life, like forever, in the event that you move in with her? His biological father could die or run off, and that would leave your girlfriend with 100% custody. I personally would never get serious with someone whose child I did not actively want to embrace as a permanent part of my life. You may love your girlfriend, but the child isn't going anywhere. You absolutely should not move in with her unless she is able to get his behavior under control. She also should not be talking about moving in with you yet, because that would be yet another destabilizing and traumatic thing for her son to go through. Comment 2. Leave. You will potentially become very unhappy and resentful towards her and/or her son. I married someone who didn't get along with my children, who started taking his resentment out on my children and me. Maybe you aren't like him, but why risk it? She's a package deal, so if you can't stand the child, just walk away because the child will always come first. I divorced my now ex-husband this year due to this exact situation. If you're not compatible with the child, you're not compatible with her, and by leaving, you're saving yourself, your girlfriend, and her son significant grief. You're only 8 months in. Don't wait years like we did. Now for the update. It's been about a month since my last update, and I'm still with my girlfriend, but things are still tough. My girlfriend invited me to her son's school play, hoping it would be a good experience for him. Her son was cast as a tree in the play. I thought that was a harmless role. At the play, he refused to go on stage, throwing a fit backstage. My girlfriend rushed to calm him down, leaving me standing awkwardly in the crowd. After the play, he yelled at me for not being his dad when I tried to congratulate him. My girlfriend apologized for his outburst and suggested we talk later. She mentioned that she's been trying to manage her son's behavior, but feels overwhelmed. We agreed to work together, but I noticed no real change in his attitude. His behavior got worse when he started refusing to eat dinner unless it was his favorite fast food. One evening, he threw a plate of food on the floor in protest, causing a mess. My girlfriend was upset and asked me to help clean it up, but I felt frustrated. I suggested a family meeting to discuss his behavior, but she hesitated. On Easter, we had a family gathering at her parents' house, which added more pressure. He acted out again during the family dinner, refusing to sit at the table. I tried to engage him in a game, but he ignored me and sulked in a corner. My girlfriend's parents expressed concern about his behavior, suggesting professional help. She dismissed their concerns, saying it's just a phase, which frustrated me. A week later, his father showed up unexpectedly at our apartment wanting to talk. He confronted me about my role in his son's life, leading to a heated argument. My girlfriend intervened, leading to a chaotic scene where her son started crying. After his father left, my girlfriend blamed me for escalating the situation. She felt defensive but acknowledged that her son needs help. We agreed to seek family counseling but had differing opinions on how to approach it. His behavior continued to worsen, leading to more arguments between me and my girlfriend. At a family dinner with her friends, he misbehaved again, causing embarrassment. I tried to help by distracting him, but it only made things worse. My girlfriend later told me that I need to be more patient with her son. As tensions grew, my girlfriend suggested a weekend trip to help us reconnect. The trip was planned at a cabin, but her son refused to go, insisting on staying home. He overheard us discussing the issues and confronted me, calling me a failure. Thank you for reading. Edit: It's been a few weeks since the trip, and my girlfriend and I had a serious talk. We decided to take a break to focus on her son's behavior. She is now committed to family therapy. I still care for them, but it's tough being apart. I'm unsure of our future together. Am I the idiot for wanting to move to Scotland to escape my jealous boyfriend's emotional manipulation? My boyfriend has been mentally exhausting from the beginning, and we got together in high school after I was pressured to date him. He has had really low self-esteem and constantly vies for my validation, but I have been able to semi-reassure him. I was fine with that until it started manifesting in him being controlling and almost like a guard dog to me, standing behind me scowling when I would talk to other people. Recently, we both entered college, and I was hanging out with someone I became friends with at orientation. He freaked out and cried in the car at me because he was jealous and didn't like the person for, as he said, no particular reason. Mostly, he has had issues with me hanging out with people outside of our small group of friends because he doesn't want people to take advantage of me or hit on me. This really rubbed me the wrong way. Then semi-recently I was talking about getting Scottish citizenship because it seems a lot safer. I'm a queer and trans person in America, and I have family over there. And he yet again freaked out because he didn't want to live a life without me and was afraid to lose me. Then I freaked out because I'm afraid of being trapped, and we're still really young. For context, my mom was trapped with my hurtful father for a long time, and it really messed me up and made me sort of non-committal. Not in an infidelity way at all, but more so being afraid of not having an out, or having independence, not being able to make decisions for myself. I also recently learned that he didn't like one of my ex-friends before my boyfriend and I got together. Not because he was a bad person, but because I was closer with him than I was with my boyfriend at the time. I didn't really know him. Another thing is that we're both trans, female to male, and I've been out for 5 years, medically transitioning for a little over 2 years. This wouldn't be an issue if my boyfriend were out to his family. He came out to his mom, and she was neutral. He really wants testosterone and top surgery, but refuses to come out to any more of his family. Every time we talk, he ends up complaining about being dead-named and misgendered, but then takes no agency to avoid being dead-named and misgendered. I told him flat out that I can't keep having this same conversation because it's draining on my mental health, but he keeps having it. Furthermore, his anger issues have worsened, and he emits this constant aura of anger. I can't deal with this. I also have complex post-traumatic stress disorder from being emotionally abused as a child, so this is very triggering. It's also difficult because he can be really sweet and funny, but the cons have just been building up for a long time, and I've been gradually distancing myself because I get stressed being around him, but it makes me feel really awful. I'm scared to break up with him because when I told him I can't deal with his strong emotions all the time, he said he was suicidal, also triggering because my dad would do the same thing. I want to stay friends because I don't want to lose my other friends. I was friends with them first, and some of them have said they would harm themselves if we broke up, but I think they're joking, and I don't know what to do. Help. To add, my friends have said that they would harm themselves if we broke up, but my boyfriend did bring up unalived when I was talking about how I don't know if I can stay together. I'm not sure if it makes any difference though. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, this man needs a psychological intervention. Anyone, and I mean anyone, threatening unalived is extremely emotionally unstable. If he's instilling this much control over what you can and can't do, then the relationship isn't about love for him. It's a toxic obsession, and that is dangerous for both of you. Call a hotline if you're going to break up with him, but you need to get out of there. Comment 2. Break up, and when he says he's going to harm himself, call the police. Call the police. They will either get him the help he needs for being suicidal, or he will have to explain a very awkward situation. Either way, your conscience is clear. Move on and live your best life. Now for the update. A couple of days after the last incident, I decided to meet with my friend Jamie at the local library to talk things through. Honestly, I needed to get my head straight and figure out what the heck was going on with my boyfriend. I was so done with the drama and just wanted to have a normal life for once. Jamie was always there for me, so I figured talking it out over some stale library coffee was my best bet. So we met up and I started spilling all the tea, from the crazy outburst to the whole Scottish citizenship thing that had my boyfriend really upset. Jamie said she couldn't believe how messed up things were with us and suggested I reach out to my boyfriend to clear the air and see how he was doing. I wasn't sure if that was a good idea. What if he flipped out again? But I knew I couldn't keep avoiding him, so I texted him to ask if we could meet, and he agreed to come over to my apartment later that evening. The day went by super fast. I cleaned up my place and tried to prepare for whatever was about to happen. When my boyfriend showed up, he looked a bit disheveled, wearing a hoodie that seemed to swallow him. I guess he was feeling insecure or something because he was definitely not looking like his usual self. We sat on the couch, and I could tell he was nervous. He kept fidgeting with the sleeves of his hoodie, like he was trying to disappear into it or something. It was kind of sad, honestly. We talked, and he brought up my interest in Scottish citizenship again, this time sounding more desperate than before. He asked if I was planning to leave him for good, and I assured him that wasn't the case. I mean, I didn't really know what I wanted, but I wasn't about to bail on him just like that. We ended our talk with a somewhat awkward hug. I couldn't help but feel like things were still super messed up between us. The next day, I got a text from my mom inviting me to a family dinner at her place. I hesitated but decided it might be a good distraction, so I asked my boyfriend if he wanted to come. He agreed, but I could see his anxiety creeping back as we approached my parents' house. I could just feel the tension in the air. At dinner, my dad made jokes about my brother's baby on the way, which made my boyfriend visibly tense. My sister brought up her recent engagement, which led to my boyfriend becoming more withdrawn. Honestly, it was like he was fading away right in front of us. Halfway through the meal, my boyfriend suddenly stood up and announced he needed to go outside for fresh air. I followed him outside and found him pacing on the porch, muttering to himself. He turned to me, looking panicked, and said he felt like he was losing control. I tried to calm him down, but he got angry, yelling that I didn't understand what he was going through. I stepped back, shocked by the outburst in front of my family. It was so embarrassing, like I just wanted to disappear. My mom appeared at the door, concerned, and asked if everything was okay. My boyfriend quickly claimed he was just feeling overwhelmed. We went back inside, and my boyfriend sat in silence, avoiding eye contact with anyone. The whole dinner was super awkward after that. After dinner, as we were leaving, my brother pulled me aside and asked if everything was all right between me and my boyfriend. I brushed it off, telling him we were just going through some stuff. I could see the worry in his eyes, but I didn't want to get into it. Later that night, I got a message from my boyfriend saying he needed space to figure things out. I wasn't sure how to feel about that. The next day, I was surprised to find out from Jamie that my boyfriend had been seen at a local cafe with someone else. I couldn't believe it. I confronted him about the cafe sighting, and he denied it at first. After some back and forth, he admitted he went there to talk with another friend, but insisted nothing was happening. He suggested we take a break, saying he needed to focus on himself and his transition. I agreed to the break, but made it clear that I needed to discuss things further before making any final decisions. A week later, I met with my parents for lunch, and they brought up my boyfriend's behavior. They were worried, and honestly, so was I. I confronted my boyfriend about the break and my decision to separate. He reacted angrily, threatening to harm himself, which triggered my past trauma. I couldn't handle that. I immediately called a trusted relative to come over and support me. My relative arrived quickly, and I shared everything that had happened. Together, we worked on a plan to make sure my boyfriend would get the help he needed. I ended the conversation with my boyfriend on a firm note. I just didn't know what else to do. Edit. After the last message, my boyfriend's cousin reached out to me, expressing concern for his well-being. We agreed to do a wellness check, and thankfully, he was okay. We also arranged for a mental health professional to speak with him. He still wants a break, but we're working on setting boundaries.